Today we explore one of the most influential periods in the history of art, ancient Greece, Rome, and the early Judeo-Christian world. These civilizations shaped many artistic traditions that still influence agriculture, sculpture, and political imagery today. Ancient Greek and Roman art established ideas such as realism in the human figure, architectural orders, public monuments, and civic architecture. Can you think of modern buildings or monuments that resemble ancient Greek or Roman architecture? Some examples might include government buildings, museums, courthouses, and monuments like the Lincoln Memorial. Ancient Greek art was guided by four key ideas: humanism, which is humans are essential to the universe; rationalism, which is knowledge comes from reason and logic; naturalism, artists observe and represent the real world; and idealism, artists portray perfected versions of the human form. Greek artists aimed to create a balance between realism and ideal beauty. The earliest Greek art period is called the geometric period. Artists used repeating shapes and patterns to decorate pottery. Human figures were simplified into geometric forms. Let's look at figure 15.1. This large funerary vase was placed as a grave marker. The figures depicted mourning rituals for the deceased. Notice how the human figures are constructed from triangles and simple shapes. Why might artists simply simplify human figures into geometric shapes? Some possible answers are stylistic tradition, symbolic representation, and technical limitations. During the Archaic period, Greek artists began focusing on the human figure. Sculptures from this period included choros, which is the male youth statues, or chorai, which is the female statues. These figures appear rigid and symmetrical. They often display the archaic smile or a stylized expression. Now let's look at figure 15.2. This sculpture shows the early Greek attempt to represent the human body realistically. The stance resembles Egyptian sculpture. However, Greek artists gradually moved toward more natural movements. Let's look at figure 15.3. Compared with earlier kuroi, the statue shows more natural body proportions. Greek artists were beginning to study anatomy and musculature more carefully. Greek temples followed specific architectural systems called orders. The three main orders are Doric, Ionic, Corinthian. Each order has distinct column designs and decorative elements. Why might architects create standardized column styles? Standardization created visual harmony and recognizable architectural language. Greek pottery also evolved during the Archaic period. There are two major painting techniques emerged. The first one, black figure, which are figures painted in black against red clay. The second, red figure, which are figures remained red while the background becomes black. Red figure painting allowed more detailed anatomically representation. Let's look at figure 15.6. This vase shows two warriors from the Trojan War. The scene captures a quiet moment during battle. Notice the balanced composition and detailed clothing. Why might artists depict heroes during everyday activities rather than only battle scenes? After Greece defeated Persia around 480 BCE, Greek art entered the classical period. Artists focused on realism, balance, and harmony. Let's look at figure 15.8. This sculpture captures a disc thrower in mid-motion. The twisting body creates a sense of movement. Greek artists studied athletic bodies because athletics were central to Greek culture. During the 5th century BCE, Athens became the cultural center of Greece. This period produced some of the greatest monuments in Western art. Look at figure 15.9. The Parthenon was built on the Acropolis in Athens. It was dedicated to the goddess Athena. The building appears perfectly straight, but subtle curves were included to correct optical illusions. Why might architects adjust structures to account for visual perception? Polyclitus developed a mathematical system for ideal body proportions. The statue demonstrates contrapposto, where weight shifts onto one leg. This creates a more natural pose. Later, Greek sculpture became more emotional and graceful. Artists truly focused on individuality and human expression. Let's look at figure 15.12. This sculpture shows a softer and more relaxed pose. The body appears more fluid compared to the earlier classical sculptures. After the conquest of Alexander the Great, Greek culture spread across the Mediterranean and Near East. Hellenistic art emphasized drama, emotion, and dynamic movement. Let's look at figure 15.14. This dramatic sculpture shows a Trojan priest attacked by sea serpents. The twisting bodies and intense expressions create a sense of struggle and pain. How does emotion affect the viewer's experience of this sculpture? Now look at figure 15.15. This famous statue represents the goddess Aphrodite. The twisting pose and flowing drapery create movement and elegance. Before Rome dominated Italy, the Etruscans were a powerful civilization. They influenced Roman architecture, religion, and sculpture. Let's look at figure 15.17. This funerary sculpture shows a couple reclining together. Unlike Greek funerary art, Etruscan tombs celebrated family and social life. Roman art borrowed heavily from Greek traditions but added practical innovations. Romans emphasized engineering, urban planning, and realistic portraiture. During the Roman Empire, beginning in 27 BCE, architecture focused on large buildings and monuments that showed the power and success of Rome. Roman builders were inspired by Greek styles but added new ideas like arches and concrete, which made the construction stronger and easier. Roman sculptures mixed realistic details from the Republic with the perfect idealized style of Greek art. The Colosseum is one of the largest amphitheaters ever built. It hosted gladiatorial games and public spectacles. The structure demonstrates Roman mastery of arches and concrete construction. Why might rulers build massive public entertainment venues? Let's look at figures 15.26 and 15.27. The Pantheon is one of the best preserved Roman buildings. Its massive dome was the largest in the world for centuries. The opening at the top is called the oculus, which allows light to enter. Figure 15.28. This sculpture portrays the Emperor Augustus as a powerful leader. The pose resembles classical Greek sculpture. However, the imagery of the armor communicates Roman political propaganda. Look at figure 15.30. This bronze statue shows the emperor on horseback. It is one of the few surviving large Roman bronze sculptures left. During the late Roman Empire, Christianity became more increasingly influential. Art began to focus more on spiritual meaning rather than natural realism. Look at figure 15.33. Early Christian images often resemble earlier Roman sculptures. The Good Shepherd symbolized Christ caring for his followers. The Roman basilica became the model for early Christian churches. These buildings were large public spaces suitable for gatherings. Buddhist art developed in India after the teachings of Siddhartha Gautama. A stupa is a Buddhist monument used for meditation and pilgrimage. Visitors walk around it as part of a religious practice. Ancient China developed powerful empires and artistic traditions. Let's look at figure 15.41. Thousands of life-size soldiers were buried with the first emperor of China. Each figure has unique facial features. Why might a ruler want an army buried with them? The Olmec civilization was one of the earliest in Mesoamerica. Let's look at figure 15.44. These enormous basalt heads may represent rulers or warriors. They demonstrate impressive stone carving skills. So today we explored art from several ancient civilizations, including Greece, Rome, the Judeo-Christian world, Buddhist, China, and Mesoamerica. Each culture developed distinctive artistic traditions that influenced later civilizations. Which civilization from today's lecture do you think had the greatest influence on modern Western culture?